Hey there, I'm Sara Zarrella, a portrait and wedding photographer and your host for Wedding Secrets Unveiled. This is a podcast where we cut through the complexity of wedding planning, leaving you with everything you need to know directly from the industry experts. If you want to simplify your wedding planning while having fun, of course, you came to the right place. Join me while I guide you through your planning, starting from your engagement to your big day when you say, I do. After photographing for over 20 years, I am sharing with you tips and tricks to cut through the excess noise. Because I believe from the moment you said yes, your planning experience should be a magical time in your life. Here you'll find episodes that are fun, stress-free, and straight to the point with a fresh, honest take on the reality of what you really need to know about planning your perfect day. Let's dive in. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I'm your host, Sara Zarrella, and today's episode, I have a very special lady with me. Her name is Kathryn, and she is our studio manager at Sara Zarrella Photography, so I work hand in hand with her every day. She is also the back end producer with Dan Phillips. Her and Dan work hand in hand on producing this show to you all behind the scenes. She actually was the reason why we're now on YouTube. So if you are listening, please check out our YouTube channel, which is Sara Zarrella YouTube. Anyway, today's episode, though, is food allergies. So we have been trying to figure out a great episode for her to come on because she is a wealth of knowledge. So you'll start seeing Kathryn more. She'll start becoming a guest on our episodes more because there's just so much knowledge that she takes to the table. So today, though, we're going to talk about food allergies. So if you are planning a wedding and you are thinking about how to handle food allergies, thinking about some tips and tricks about how to handle food allergies and some great ways to make your guests feel comfortable and your vendors who have food allergies, this is the episode for you. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast, friends. I'm your host, Sara Zarrella, and who are you?
Hi, I'm Kathryn. I'm the studio manager for Sara Zarrella Photography. Big fan of the podcast. I do get to listen to every episode, usually twice, honestly. So, working through getting everything set and ready to go out for all of our audience. And our new project, we were going to announce this today, is that we are now on YouTube. So you can check us out on video, on YouTube, like and subscribe. And we would really appreciate that. Now you can watch us at work while you work. Not that I don't do that.
Oh, you don't? You should.
Don't.
Well, wait, you just said you did.
I watch our videos. I'm saying I don't watch other YouTube podcasts.
Fair. She listens to other two.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Well, I have to just chime in here. This is your baby, actually.
Yeah. Been working hard.
Yeah, you have been working hard.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think YouTube is a great way to connect with people. You can feel more engaged in what's happening when you can watch it and see what's happening. See the shenanigans kind of behind the scenes.
And I'm excited to have you on because finally everybody gets to see and hear, but see now also, there is like a triangle here. We have Dan, our producer, who's a very important part of the team. And then we have Kathryn, who now you guys get to see. There she is.
Yes, hello. Totally not nervous at all to actually be on this side of the podcast, but it's fine.
But you are huge, like producing of this also. So behind the voice, there's two very important people, one Dan and also yourself. And Dan's been on here.
Yes.
So now we have you.
Yes. Excited to be here and talk about, something that's very near and dear to my heart. I don't know.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
But before we get into that, just, I don't know, go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
right?
Check us out on YouTube. It's the Sara Zarrella Photography YouTube channel, Wedding Secrets Unveiled playlist right there. And you can check out all our old episodes as well. Should be on there. And
and produced by Dan and Kathryn.
Yeah.
With that said, though, you did say that you listen to every one of our podcasts, maybe because you kind of have to, but also because you want to.
Yes.
We've been trying to figure out the best subject for you to come on for, because there's quite a bit that you can come on for. Mm-hmm. And I think we landed on the right one for you.
Yeah, I would agree. And, I am specially qualified to talk about today. We're talking about food allergies at weddings. Yay. So as someone who is gluten and dairy free, has to be, unfortunately, this is something that I, happens a lot to me at weddings. So I would like to share and educate people so that, other guests and maybe vendors can can have good experiences at your wedding.
Just fun fact. Well, it's not even a fun fact, but I just find this. I mean, it's funny. Like, I could never look at an envelope again.
I know.
You know what I'm about to say,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like, I just didn't know that this even exists. And now it's funny. So yesterday when we were doing the envelopes,
Yes.
it's funny. One of them, I was like, oh, I'll lick the envelope for you. And then I looked at it and it was a peel off. I'm like, oh, they probably have these peel offs for this reason.
Yes.
So fun fact, Kathryn is so allergic that she can't even lick envelopes.
Yes. A lot of adhesives are wheat based or include a wheat ingredient. And just to give an overall, explanation of what gluten allergies are, and some other food allergies, because we're going to be talking a lot about them, so that you guys know what they actually are. A gluten allergy gluten is a component of wheat, so anything wheat contains gluten. So bread, pasta, anything carbs, anything delicious, honestly, contains gluten. Unfortunately, or dairy. But then dairy is obviously milk. And then the other big food dietary restriction that people face and don't understand a lot, and I totally get that because I didn't know anything until I had to go gluten-free, is that vegan is no animal products at all. So no eggs, no dairy, no, a lot of vegans don't do honey. Some do, but a lot of vegans do not eat honey because that's also an animal byproduct. So the thing is, I say all the time, I'm like, oh, I'm gluten and dairy free, and people say, oh, so you're vegan, and I'm like, no, I can still have meat. It's one of the few categories of food that I can usually eat pretty easily. So I'm not vegetarian, and also vegans can have wheat. So a lot of vegan products have gluten in them.
So do you find that when you say that you're gluten-free, and obviously you're also dairy-free, but gluten-free,
Yeah.
people automatically go into the vegan category for you?
People assume,
Okay.
yes, because they're like, oh, that's like healthy eating, like good for you stuff. And I'm like, well, it depends what you're replacing the gluten with. But no, so if something is marked vegan and gluten-free, I know I can have it. But if something is marked just vegan, then odds are it contains flour, which is gluten. So
When we, just on a side note, before we get into what it pertains to the show,
yes.
and you may have told me this, but I don't remember. Because, I mean, FYI for our listeners and our viewers now, Kathryn and I work side by side together every day.
So 2 of us in the office.
There we are, But when did you find out that you were?
Yeah, so in 2018, actually.
Oh, so recently.
Yeah, relatively recently. I mean, 7 years ago now, but
yeah,
yes.
But still recent in your life.
Correct. I was an adult, so I've had all the good things. I've had all the bad fast food things, so I know what it's like and how delicious they are. But I had all these people in my life, like a friend who moved to Rhode Island and I met, and then 2 other people in my life at the same time. Both were diagnosed with celiac disease, which is the autoimmune disorder that most commonly coincides with gluten intolerance. But they got diagnosed at the same time. So for Thanksgiving in 2018, we did a Friendsgiving and I made all gluten-free stuff. And I accidentally ate all gluten-free for Thanksgiving meal for the first time ever. And I was like, wait a second, what is this feeling? So sudden and new for the Wicked fans. But anyways, I was full, but wasn't in pain, and I didn't realize that I was in pain.
Were you growing up in pain a lot?
Yes.
And you just always assume that that's what you do?
Especially on holidays. I'm like, well, food just hurts, and I didn't realize that I felt that way.
I'm only laughing because it's like, food just hurts.
Yeah,
It's a really sad saying.
I know, but I think of all the holidays or things that I, had the stuffing and all the stuff, and then was just miserable afterwards. So on my birthday of 2019, which is January, I ate like chicken parm, pasta. I had this huge brownie sundae, and I was so sick, and I was like, yep, that's it, I'm done. And I gave up gluten, and I've had some cheat days here and there, but other than that, been gluten-free since 2019. So, and then dairy came later. I held on to that one more begrudgingly because it's really really hard to be both gluten and dairy free, because so many things are gluten free, so many things are dairy free, but I get knocked out of a lot of things having both. I know. But it has taught me to cook. I've learned how to replace things, and that's something we'll talk about later, especially when we get to desserts. But
we should definitely talk about that. It's interesting because like I'll come into the studio and I'll put my lunch in the fridge and I'll look at your lunch and I'll be like, okay, I didn't know that like I'm just learning suddenly, like silently. Yes. I'm learning. I'm looking at your meals and I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I make a lot of Asian food.
Yes, I was about to say that. A lot of stir
soy
fry.
Sauce. Yeah. Yes, soy sauce contains wheat. And all Asian cuisine, Thai, Indian, that's all my favorite. But it's really hard to eat out because everything has soy sauce in it. And even, we'll talk about this too, but cross-contamination is a huge issue. So, there's soy sauce in everything. So even if they're making my food in a pan that has soy sauce from another meal, then I'll get sick. So,
you're super sensitive.
I'm super sensitive.
I wonder, I don't know if your doctor's ever said this, and we're kind of getting off tangent for the podcast, but yes. I wonder, because you've started to now eliminate it, now your body is even more sensitive.
Well, I think so. Yeah, just
because if you went so many years without it and just being like tummy yucky, but now like I know you get really sick now.
Yes, but I think I've always gotten really sick, and the interesting thing is yes, I think I get more sick, like with different symptoms. It's a little bit more severe, but my gut health is better. So when I get sick, I recover faster because my body is in a better situation. It's not constantly in trouble, in crisis. So it heals better and things like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about this all day long because we do. Yes. Like I always get in these random tangents with you about this, but now let's go back to the show. All right?
Yes. Sorry. Weddings. We're back to it. All right.
All right. With weddings, tell me a little bit about how people should go about food allergies when it comes to their weddings.
Yes. So, the first place you got to start is at the very beginning with the invitations. So, you can't meet people's food allergy or dietary restriction needs unless you know what they are. So for a lot of people, the easiest way to do this is when you send out your invitation suite and you have the RSVP card, you can just put on the bottom, like, do you have any food allergies in your party? Especially if they're selecting a meal.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I'm only laughing because as you're talking, I remember we did this and I got back a funny response. Still to this day, my husband's mom, God rest her soul, she wrote back saying like limited salt. And I was like, I just loved it.
Yes,
Give me a
it's
chuckle.
Just so sweet.
It was sweet.
I get funny.
So, but with that said, if you are a listener that that food allergy is not for your preferences, it's an actual allergy.
It's actually I will get sick and have to leave your wedding, and I want to stay and celebrate you all night long, situation, and and even like we were saying, like for a lot of vegans, even though that was a choice for whatever reason. To go vegan, it's not necessarily a physical choice for some people, but just a moral choice or whatever. Then they still, since they haven't had any animal byproducts for so long, they will get very sick if they have, even like chicken broth in a meal that they're having. So So these things are serious, especially if you want your guests to really enjoy the wedding and be able to celebrate you to the full extent. So you have to ask them, and even, a lot of people nowadays are doing RSVPs on wedding websites. So even if you can't include like a bar where people can input their allergies, you can always put like a little thing that says like, hey, email me by this date if you have a food allergy or something.
That's a
like
good
that.
piece of advice. And also too, for our listeners, think about your vendors too. I do this a lot with you, and I feel really bad when I work with Kathryn because I'm so used to working with Dan, who doesn't have any food allergies. I know, Dan, you like the fish. I do know that. I always put fish down for Dan when he has to work. But I sometimes forget to say, like, there's a food allergy.
Yes.
And we've caught it. But
yes.
I mean, so for the listeners, also you have to ask about your vendors. You have to contact them and ask them too.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we can cut this part if you want to, but we had a very interesting experience.
No, we're not going to cut it. We're going to say, I know exactly where you're going with this.
We were working a wedding.
And FYI, that one, I actually said something.
You did?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And
it was bad.
And this is why it is very serious, because it's serious for your guest or your vendor, but also for the kitchen. It throws them off entirely because they may not have the ingredients or have cooked it. But with that said, I know I told this venue. But anyway, you can tell the story.
Well, and the thing that got me was the bride was also gluten-free. So they had gluten-free things prepared.
Yes.
Anyways, but I always check, when we're working a wedding, I always check with the catering coordinator, whoever it is, and I say, hey.
On the day of. So
on the day of.
So they always email us and they always say, well, they don't always. That's why it's up to the bride. But we knew this particular bride was gluten-free because she actually emailed us and said, is there any dietary restrictions? I said, oh, yes, there is.
Yes.
And so I know I told her and I know she told them. But with that said, just as an extra layer of protection, your vendors are usually going to check with on-site.
Yes. Yeah. And just to reiterate, just to back up also, just for the basics, providing your vendors a hot meal is included in a lot of people's contracts, but please don't forget them because that's just important. Feed them. They've been on their feet all day and working hard for you, so please feed them. But then to back to what I was saying, I literally always go up to whoever's in charge of food and catering and confirm with them, like, hey, I'm the vendor that has the gluten and dairy allergy, just like to remind you. And I forgot to do it that day because we were out taking sunset photos, and the way that like timing happened, we were like way far away from the kitchen and anything. So I didn't do that ahead of time. Well, when we came back in from sunset photos, there were 8 meals for all the vendors, and it was definitely something that I could not have. It was like covered in like a cream sauce or something. And so I said, like, hi. I was like, I have a gluten and dairy allergy. Like, I believe they told you ahead of time, but I can't eat this plate. I'm so sorry. And I come with snacks. I always carry snacks as someone with food allergies.
And Kathryn's very sweet, if you haven't noticed. So it was a very nice, like, I can't eat this. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I can't even. I was so not rude. I promise. And she was so mean to me. Anyways, we
shockingly mean. Like,
she left the room, and Sarah goes, "Is that a normal reaction to you?" And I was like, "No, that one was pretty bad." She was just like, I don't know. She was just kind of.
It was a tough day. It was a tough day in the office.
It's fine.
But with that said, it was not the bride. We know that. But this goes to show you that there are times that things can get, you got
to plan ahead.
And also to, what's the word I'm looking for? Lost through the cracks or what's?
Yeah, things fall through the cracks.
That's it.
Things fall through the cracks.
Right.
I have my checks in place to try and make sure that it doesn't happen. That I confirm before a plate actually gets to me. But yeah, things happen.
And also to talk to me a little bit about buffets then, because we're talking a little bit about the RSVPs and asking people to inform you, but that's when there's meal choices. What if somebody is having a buffet, so therefore they don't have their meal choices on their RSVP?
Yep, that's great. So with buffets, there's a couple of tips that I have and some tricks. But the first thing that I would say is, please, if you are getting RSVPs back, or if you know that people in your life who are attending have certain food allergies or dietary restrictions, please make sure that there's an entree for them on your buffet. I just heard a story of a catering company told a bride that, like, oh, I know you have vegetarians or vegans coming to your wedding. They can just have the veggies. And so, like, these poor people go through the line and they just get, like, a scoop of broccoli and a scoop of carrots. But no, like, you want to feed the people at your wedding. Please have entrees for them. I've even had, they like, oh, they whipped up chicken in the back for me, like, to have something, like a piece of chicken for me that I can have that's safe, that's not coming out of the
I'm
like
only for the people who are on YouTube, you're probably looking at my facial expressions, but for the people who are like listening, I'm just letting you know, like, I'm my facial expressions, I'm been told. So
Yeah.
this is why being YouTube is very uncomfortable, that, like, you can read my face by my facial expressions. So, like,
Yes.
while you're talking, like, people are probably looking at me and be like, what's happening with Sarah? And she's like having like this like Twitch reaction. But I am, because I'm going through my memory, and, like, I'm not even allergic to anything. And I have such, like, triggering pain points when people don't feed us correctly. Like,
Yeah.
so on a side note, your vendors, like, I know we're going again on another tangent, but there's just so much here, like, to unpack. Like, we're sometimes there at like 9 a.m, and now we're dealing with like an 8:30, 9 o'clock dinner time. This is our plated hot meal. I mean, obviously we would take snacks and lunch, but, like, I mean, if you're hustling and you're working hard, you just need something of substance. I have such a pain point when I don't get actually fed a proper meal. Like, if I'm like, oh, here's the side or here's the salad, and I'm not even allergic to anything. Like, I'm like, this is no substance.
Sarah, I've worked at a wedding where they ran out of food.
Yes.
They run out of food and don't have food for the vendor.
All right, so just
anyways.
No, I mean, I want to digress for a hot second.
Yes.
Like, just a little couple stories here. Like, I don't know if it was you or Dan, but, like, I get really upset when this happens. I mean, okay, FYI, let me back up. I don't get upset towards the venue. I don't get upset towards the couples. No
one would ever know.
No one will ever know I'm upset. Actually, no, they would, because I've been told that my facial expressions show it. But, like, this is where, in the 25 years that I've been doing this is where I get flustered. And I don't know why. I just get flustered.
You're just hangry.
Yes, I so am. And, like, you want me to do a really good job, just make sure that they feed you. And, like, part of the time that this happens, and I know it, it's just not even the couples. It's the venue.
No, yeah.
It's like, I know, because, like, the couples will come up to me and they're like, have you ate? Like, and half the time I want to say, no, I haven't.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I smile
and
I nod.
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I was totally able to eat at your buffet that only had pasta. Yeah.
And all the time I'm like, yes, I'm great. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm so hangry right now. But anyway, with that said, like, it's not okay to like, I mean, again, we can pack our own food, but, like, when you're working this entire day, like, this is over sometimes 8 hours more. I'm saying more. Like, we need something of substance.
Totally. And even for your guests, like, if they, you have a vegan friend who's going through the line and they can only eat, again, like, broccoli and carrots or whatever the side is, like, that's not filling. And they're not going to be able to last the whole night, and they're going to have to, go.
3 stories that I wanted to throw out was, one was a high-end venue that we worked at. They gave us sandwiches.
Yeah.
Okay, that was hot. That was great. that was a hot mess. But we got fed. They gave another venue, they had like a buffet for all of the vendors, but the band got out and just ate it all.
Yeah.
So by the time we got there, we're like, that's awesome. That happened. And another one, there was a cockroach in it. I'm like, that's even better.
No, Sarah, no.
Dan was with me on that one, right, Dan? You were over there. Dan had an oyster one time that had a crab in it.
No, ew. Ew. As a Kentucky girl, living in Newport, we really could.
We should do that, actually.
Yeah.
A whole episode of stories about food.
Yeah, write it down.
All right, let's do it.
But I as a Kentucky girl, being introduced to the New England seafood since I've lived here, it kind of like spooks me a little bit. Sometimes I've had I don't know, that the crab and the the oyster really.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Anyway, maybe we digress. All right, this is what we're going to do, right? We're
Yes.
going to take a quick break.
Yes.
All right. And then we come back. We'll get back on track, okay,
Yes,
guys?
well,
And
actually.
it's exciting for me to have the whole crew here. We're going to talk a little bit about, we'll get back to buffets.
Yeah.
All right, some of your pointers about buffets.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some pointers on cocktail hour,
Mm-hmm.
desserts. We're going to go over that.
Yeah.
And then buffets and also versus plated. But we are going to come back from our break and we're going to focus in on allergies.
Promise.
Do we though?
No.
Fair. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to check out our website at sarazarrella.com. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate if you left a fabulous review on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support. And now, let's get back to the episode. Well, welcome back to Wedding Secrets Unveiled, podcast friends. I'm Sara Zarrella, and
I'm Kathryn.
we're here again after our short little break.
Mm-hmm.
We got our act together.
Totally did. Yep, for sure.
So talk to me
Yes.
about buffets.
Yes. So the big issue with buffets for people with food allergies is cross-contamination. And that is essentially a simple definition. It's when like things touch. So like my food is gluten-free, but if someone scoops from the vegetables onto their plate that has pasta on it and they touch the pasta and then put the spoon back in the vegetables, then I will still get sick from the vegetables because they have...
Hence why you can't lick an envelope.
Exactly.
How often does that happen to you? Like that's also on to the training of the catering company. And at the end of the day, they're at the mercy of their employees.
Yes.
So what would be a suggestion for somebody who's dealing with that?
Yep. So there are kind of two things. The first one is to allow people with food allergies to go first. So you can have your DJ, like the bride and groom goes to get their food from the buffet.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then you can say, like, the DJ can be like, anybody with food allergies can jump up and go to the buffet first. And that allows me to minimize the amount of people that have likely cross-contaminated me.
But there's still probably, because at the end of the day, if that's how they're serving, there's probably still some cross-contamination.
Correct. So the other option is if you're doing a buffet, if your catering team provides people to actually do the scooping, that is also really helpful. But educating those catering staff on food allergies and that, when you scoop onto that plate, don't touch anything. Don't touch the plate. Don't touch the food that's also on the plate, and having people there to know what food allergies are in which dish, in each of the dishes there. Because if I go up, I'm going to ask like, oh, is this gluten and dairy free? And then they usually have to like stop the line, go back to the kitchen and ask, but if they already know, like these things contain gluten, these things contain dairy.
And also too, like, I mean, there's, I think the world is very aware of the seriousness of the peanut allergy world.
Exactly.
And now you have, it's not a trend, but it's people are being, science is becoming a little bit more knowledgeable about now the gluten.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe the takeaway from our listeners are when you send out that RSVP, what you should basically do is when you have that conversation with your catering company or venue, tell them the allergies and ask these questions. Just take a moment, 5-10 minutes, and have these conversations of like, how are they handling this for their dietary restrictions? Because, like you said, like in your brain, you have to see it through. Like you have to think, oh, okay, like it's a buffet where we're going to have options for the allergies, but then they're not thinking about the actual scooping. So just, talk to them just a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's all about the intention versus being an afterthought, and just to circle back to cocktail hour, like, it's really nice to know, like, I've had friends get married and they say, like, hey, we made sure that there's at least one past hors d'oeuvre that you can have at cocktail hour, and it's this one. It's the, like, sirloin lollipop or whatever it is. Like, go find that one. That really helps me.
So that's another tip.
Hour.
So let's talk about cocktail hour.
Yep.
So another tip is with cocktail hour is maybe go the extra, if you have certain people, I mean, there's not going to be a long list of a ton of people with
No.
allergies. So like those 4 or 5,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like 5%,
Yeah.
whatever, even if that. But like you said, reach out to them and say like, this is what my catering company or this is what my venue has said that you can have at
Yep.
cocktail hour. Or talk to them a little bit about the buffet of like the plated meal is a different story.
Yeah.
The plated meal should be handled in the back of the house. They'll know what to do with
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
But like you said, with their food choices being out,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Where it's not handled by the back of the house. Now you're at the mercy
Of 100
of
people.
100 people.
Yeah.
Like you said, asking them to basically serve you first so people are not scooping. Or if it's served by the catering company or the venue is being served by the venue, then it's a little less cross-contamination.
Yeah, less likely. Grandma's not, touching the bun on her plate.
But let them know what they can have at cocktail hour.
Yeah, and also for cocktail hour, it's really popular to have like set out displays of like charcuterie, fruit, crackers, like cheese, those kinds of things. And I know that it looks so pretty to like have it all mixed together. But my tip for your friends with food allergies is to have them separate. I'm so sorry. Is to have like crackers over here, cheese over here, and meats and fruit or whatever, on different plates. Because like if I see a charcuterie board that has meats, cheese, and crackers, even nuts also, fun fact, a lot of nuts are processed in factories with wheat, so I don't eat nuts out in public. But so if you have it all mixed together, like I'm not touching a single thing on that board.
But also too, people who have the nut allergy are not either.
Exactly.
So nowadays, it's a trend now to not just have a board, it's to have a display. So you can easily accomplish that with a charcuterie display.
Exactly. And it looks really pretty. It has the same effect. But you have cheeses, crackers, fruits,
and
all
nuts.
separate and
nuts.
maybe not. Maybe just no nuts. I'm so scared of nut allergies.
Nuts.
Like I don't
You
mess
have your
with
nuts
nut
in your own little
allergies.
plate.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, my other tip for cocktail hour, and this one gets people, it's the same as the envelopes.
I know what you're gonna say.
It's
That's
the
so
same
weird.
as the envelopes.
It's so weird.
Paper straws.
So
The
weird.
glue in paper straws usually contains a wheat element, so I don't use paper straws. And the problem is
It's
that
so weird. It's so foreign to me that
so
this
I
is
like
going on.
as a guest, obviously never as a vendor, but obviously as a guest, I would go up to the bar, I would order, a drink, and they like hand me the drink and they plop a paper straw in it. Technically, that whole drink is now contaminated and I should not have it, but I just like immediately pull it out so fast. Again, on YouTube, you guys can now see my hand motions. I talk with my hands. But I pull out the straw so fast and I'm like, alcohol kills it, right? Like it kills the gluten. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. And then I still get a little sick, but it's fine. It's just a little bit. But so talking to your bar staff, the catering team, whoever's handling the bar, not having paper straws at all, or having them but not automatically putting them in a drink.
That's a good.
Really
That's
helpful.
because the paper straws are pretty.
Yeah.
So I know why they want them there.
Better for the environment. Love that.
As a photographer, we're often photographing these little details like that go so much TLC. But like you said, just having them in a jar and letting people take them out.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. Like in Rhode Island, how they made it illegal to have plastic. Like, were you like driving through the drive-thru and like, I need a plastic straw because I'm gluten-free?
I keep plastics. Like I'll like go to McDonald's and be like, can I have an extra straw? And I keep the extra straws in my glove compartment. So when I go somewhere with a paper straw, then I use my plastic straws.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a straw that
reusable
a reusable straw that Santa
yes.
gave me in my stocking that's never opened because I don't need it. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it's
okay,
just,
cool. I love that.
Problem
it's
is
like a little
thinking ahead of bringing the straw with you. You know what I mean?
No, it's actually like a travel reusable.
Oh, it like folds up.
Yes,
it's one of those. Those are
yes.
fancy.
You want that?
Yeah, I do.
I'll give that too. I'll dig that one right up if I didn't throw it away.
Yeah, my last thing on food allergies for cocktail hour, is that I recently learned, and I knew this, but I just again was like, no, it's fine, and it's not fine. Is that obviously for like the types of alcohols that have gluten in them, beer is a no-go. That has gluten. There's obviously gluten-free beers. For people who love beer, like, that's fine. I never really liked beer, so you don't need to give me a gluten-free beer. I don't care. And then the heartbreaking one is margaritas. Margaritas usually have gluten in them, and it's not from the tequila. It's from the like sour mix that usually has wheat in it. So that's unfortunate. But yeah.
Okay, what's a good drink that is gluten-free?
So I, being from Kentucky, I'm a bourbon girly.
I knew you were going to say that.
And yes, technically it is made from barley and wheat and rye and things like that. I try not to drink rye ones because that's a little bit extra. But anyways, the distillation process actually removes gluten from the alcohol there. But bourbon or beer is not distilled. It's just fermented. So it is still glutinous.
Well, before we get into the yummy part, which is desserts,
Yeah.
let's circle back around. Let's talk about, we talked a little bit about buffets and cocktail hour. Let's talk a little bit about the actual plated meals.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me.
So a little bit better.
What you got for me
when
here?
it comes to food allergy friends, because I always feel safer when someone from the kitchen who knows my food allergies comes to hand me.
So is that like a nice tip
Specific
that
plate.
if you actually see that there's a lot of allergies going on, then you're always going to be safer with more of a plated service?
Yes. And I meant to say this earlier too. So keep in mind that like if you're doing a buffet, you don't necessarily have to have assigned seating at your wedding. For my wedding, we did burrito bowls. We went really low key. And had open seating, which I know is like heinous in the wedding community, but it worked for us, just our venue and stuff. And our people loved it. But if you have a plated dinner, obviously you have to have assigned seating at your wedding. I say obviously, but maybe it's not to everybody. But you have to have assigned seating at your wedding, at least by table. Then, once everybody's seated for the reception, the catering staff will come out and confirm with everybody at the table, typically which meal choice they had and if they have any food allergies. So again, that always makes me feel better as someone with dietary restrictions. And then just as far as like meals go, it's all about talking to your caterer. It's all about, making sure that everybody's educated, and there's intention, to make sure that everybody's safe in what they eat. I will say, just as an overall, typically I can't have the chicken dishes. That's usually either breadcrumbs, or
it's the way they make it,
or creamy. It's like there's usually some butter or cream element as well. I usually end up with like the beef option. That's usually fine for me, whatever it is. But gravy often has wheat in it, flour in it to thicken it up. So sometimes I get a dry piece of meat. So keep that in mind as well. And then the fish options are usually good. But the other thing I was going to say about this is that when it comes to food allergies, vegan dietary restrictions, a lot of people, well, not everybody, but I have seen it at weddings where they just have one option for all food allergies, all vegans, all everything. It's all encompassing. And like I said, like I eat meat. Like I would really like some protein at your wedding so that I feel full the whole night.
Oh, you're saying that they combine it with like the vegetarian.
But they combine it with the vegetarian or the vegan meal.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that and typically like for me, again, it's just people are not being intentional about that other meal because it's just a couple of people. So I've gotten like just rice pretty much, and like that's not really a meal. And so I've been a guest at a couple weddings where they had this like curry dish though, and so they put together like an actual meal for the other option. So instead of doing like chicken, beef, fish, they do chicken, beef, curry.
Okay.
And then it's like it's a whole meal. It's noodles or it's rice, but it has like sustenance to it. It's got mushrooms and
I mean, this is your life
stuff.
that you live this life for someone like myself who's listening to you and maybe the listeners. I actually just learned a little tip here. It's that another conversation to have. Again, these don't have to be full blown, but just another was what is the option for the meals for the dietary restrictions that you've given your catering or your venue. And the reason why I say that is it is very interesting because you're not a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes they loop everything in. So yeah, just hearing what will be served can go a long way.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's
Because
all
if they
about...
just hear rice, they might say, oh, okay, what are their options? I mean, because ultimately you're paying for these meals anyway,
Exactly.
regardless.
Exactly.
Regardless of what's served. You are paying
Yes.
for your guest meals and your vendor meals.
Yeah. So you want them to enjoy it,
Yeah.
you know, and you want them to enjoy your wedding.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about desserts now.
Yes. Okay. So I have a sweet tooth. I love a good gluten-free, dairy-free dessert. But my tip is if I'm attending your wedding, I don't have to have cake. Like, I understand that your wedding cake is not going to be something that I can have. That's totally fine. You don't have to worry about me. It's not my day. On my day, I had a gluten-free and dairy-free cake, but like, that's for me. Like, I'm not the bride and groom. Like, I don't need cake. However, if you are going to provide a dessert for your friends with food allergies who are vegan or anything like that, my biggest tip is to ask them what's actually good and where you can actually get good cupcakes or good things, because so often people go out of their way, and this is the worst. People go out of their way to try and like get me something, and then they're so excited. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I got you cupcakes that you can have at my wedding." And then either they are terrible. They're so bad because all gluten-free goods are not the same as, and vegan too. But yeah, not the same. But or two, it actually sometimes they'll get me a gluten-free cupcake and it contains dairy. And I'm like,
yes.
"No, I'm so sorry. I can't actually eat that." So again, I definitely have said like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And I was not able to eat the thing.
Aww.
So ask your friends who have done the research, you know, who live the life, who know which bakeries have really good gluten-free and dairy-free and vegan things. Around here, my favorite is Wildflower Bakery in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. They are an all-vegan cafe, but they're also very good with gluten allergies, and their cupcakes and any desserts are just to die for. So, little plug there.
I like that.
Love them. But yeah.
Well, is it time for our wrap-up question?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask you.
I do, and I forgot to prepare for this one.
I love that for you.
I know that it's happening. Anyways.
All right, well, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, great.
What are some key points that couples should be asking their venue or catering company when they are inquiring about what they are going to be serving their guests with dietary restrictions?
Yep. So first of all, it's all about communication, like communicating with your catering staff, communicating with the people who have food allergies or dietary restrictions that are coming to your wedding, communicating with your vendors. Again, it's all about over communication here. The second thing would be to make sure that there's actually a meal for them to eat, an entree, something, you know, of substance. Yes, exactly. So that they're not going hungry at your wedding. And then third thing, don't have paper straws.
I love that. I love that.
That's yeah.
And don't have Kathryn lick your envelopes if you're going to need her to help you with the RCPs.
Yes, correct. Yes. You get the peel ones. So.
All right. And then we have to do a shameless plug about our YouTube channel again.
Yes.
Go for it. You got that.
Absolutely. So check us out on our YouTube channel that's now launched. Sara Zarrella Photography, 2 R's, 2 L's, and Zarrella. And yeah, our Wedding Secrets Unveiled podcast playlist is right there. So check it out. And yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Wedding Secrets Unveiled. It's been a long time, but we have you here and we'll have you back.
Excited to be here.
You've helped our listeners become one step closer to their stress-free planning journey. Can you tell our listeners where they could find this podcast, please?
Yes, it is on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. So check it out.
Yep. And then for our listeners to... let's put it on our blog, which is at sarazarrella.com/podcast.
Yep. And all the links will be in the show notes.
I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to Wedding Secrets Unveiled. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you something. I encourage you to check out our website at sarazarrella.com. We love photographing while having fun, of course. Check out our podcast page on our website for our show notes along with upcoming episodes with your local wedding experts. Listen in as we help you plan your epic event. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. I would so appreciate if you left a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Even better, share it with a friend. It's a great way to show your support and let us know what you think. If you know any wedding experts that would like to be a guest, we have a link directly on our website where they can let us know. Thank you for listening.